What up? What up? What up? What's up, everybody? It's been a couple weeks here. I'm excited to be back and rocking and rolling with property hunting with Privy. Benson, dude, thank you so much for coming out to Arizona. You were speaking over our mastermind, went through a Privy presentation, dropped some stuff that we can't share yet. But just thank you. I really appreciate you doing that. That was super awesome. It sounded like it was a great time with everybody.
Oh, I loved it. It was a blast. You have such an amazing community, just like real high quality, top-notch people that were part of the mastermind, not to mention the speakers. Like, man, you had so many heavy hitters there. Like, I was super impressed by the quality and the caliber of the speakers that agreed to take out,
Yeah,
a couple hours out of their day, right? When
for
they're
sure.
probably literally making like, some of them are making thousands of dollars an hour in their own business.
Oh, I know that was the thing I was talking to a bunch of people about at like one of the dinners. I was like, look, it's just crazy, like how valuable these rooms could be. So to start this thing off, guys, like if you're not in these kind of rooms, even showing up to videos and live streams like this is like half the battle now. I mean, we used to always say that it was like 70% mindset and 30% action. Times have changed. It's like 50-50 now. You've got to be showing up and doing that consistently, day in and day out. So that's how I wanted to kind of start this off. Is first off, thanking Benson for his time, talking about our mastermind. And then on top of that, just jumping right into it. You guys, we don't do anything, like we don't charge anything for these. Obviously, we go live on YouTube every week. Our goal is to provide as much value to you guys in a short amount of time as possible. So this is an interactive show. If you guys don't mind, make sure to drop your comments in the chat below.
Yep.
We also don't have a script. As much as I want to say Benson and I are like going line by line here, we just go with the flow. So if you
Mhm.
guys have markets that you want to see live, if you have questions, like I see Charles right here, I'm going to start this thing off answering that question in a second. If you guys have questions, now is the time to ask it. Let's make sure that we are collaborating, putting our heads together. And also, you don't know who's on the other side of the screen here. You could be finding your next business partner, your next buyer. You could find the next key piece to your business. So with that said, Benson, if you want to share your screen today, and then I'll jump into answering Charles' question really fast.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Charles, so great question. Very, very, very tip of the iceberg answer is how do you write an offer and do you have a template? With the strategies that Benson and I go through, a lot of times we use the residential purchase agreement by the state from the agent. So we're actually not using a contract of our own. We're not going in with a 3-page contract, 4-page contract. We have an agent send over one that they use for all of their transactions. We just make sure that it's assignable. So as for a template, statewide, nationwide, I don't. Arizona, I do. If you're looking for one of those 3-page contracts, you could pretty much find those across anywhere on the internet. So
So how would you do that differently? So let's say they found a deal, somebody found a deal in Privy, they want to write an
yep,
offer. Do they just call the listing agent and then have the listing agent write it up, or do they have their own agent write it up?
great question. So the lovely legal answer is it depends. It's going to depend on a few things. First off, if you go directly to the listing agent, you can have them write it up. They would send it to you. If you had a buyer's agent, which might be from agent outreach or a prior connection, you might have that agent represent you as the buyer's agent. So you're either being represented as the buyer's agent and also by that listing agent, or you're going to have a separate agent write it up for you. Either one works. I always say it's situational, depending on which one's most likely to get me the deal.
But really, the end of the day is they don't have to write anything up. They
Correct.
just have to
Yeah,
give the price and the terms to
correct.
whoever's going to write it up, and then they do it and they send it back. And at that point, you guys are just reviewing it. But I would say it's a really good idea to figure out which state you're going to be doing deals in,
Hmm.
and then go in and Google state approved contract Florida or Texas or Colorado. And then that's going to bring up the Department of Real Estate, their website, and you can go and you can find all the documents that real estate agents use in their transactions. They're all publicly available. So I would
Yep.
go in and I would find the state approved contract, the purchase and sale agreement, and read through it, like know what it is that you're signing. Now, if you're newer and you've never done a deal before, that's why I like the idea of potentially using a buyer's agent, because they can walk you through that contract and say,
Hmm.
okay, this is what this clause means. This is what this clause right here, this is what it does for you. This is how it protects you. This particular clause could be problematic if we don't use it the right way. Here's the date matrix. Here's where we have to be really concerned about your earnest money deadline and where you could potentially lose, some money if you're not following the dates and deadlines. So if you're newer and you haven't read the contract, read your state approved contract from beginning to end. Know it. And then that way, when you are going through this and you've got a deal that you want to write an offer on, you're not doing that for the first time when time is of the essence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Huge nugget. And also, side note too, if you're a licensed agent, you could represent yourself in a contract and write it. That's what my team does, just because we're licensed. And since we have our real estate license in Arizona, we can get a commission and an assignment fee on the same transaction. So, great question. Love that. I see a comment in here that says, can you guys go over building relationships with cash buyers? I think that'd be a great thing to do today. Just to kind of refresh people's memory. Like, if you are not using Privy to build buyer relationships, one of my favorite things is that we could go in there and actually see who's buying these properties in real time. And whether you want to build a relationship with the buyer or even the agent that represented the buyer, you could do either or. So again, going back to, we don't have this scripted, I put a comment in the chat. What market do you guys want to see? If you don't mind, I'm going to give you guys a minute here. Let us know what market you want to see us go into Privy and use today. We will go and find some buyers.
Let's see what we got here. We got DFW, Jacksonville, Minneapolis, Tampa.
These are all great markets. Holy cow. Beautiful.
Wasn't Cyrus in Minneapolis?
Yeah, we had Cyrus in Minneapolis. We got a couple people out there.
Cleveland, Chicago, Miami, Phoenix, Fayetteville. We haven't looked at Cleveland in a while. Pittsburgh, we actually probably have never looked at. You want to look at Pittsburgh?
Let's do it.
Yeah, I think that one is a great one to look at. That one is one of our newer markets. It's got direct to MLS data. Now, what's cool about the direct to MLS data, you guys, is it comes direct from MLS, which you think it'd be more tricky than that. It's really not. But it's the raw data. We're not getting like an agent's MLS access. It's like we have to go and negotiate these contracts. So it's really difficult to do. It takes a lot of time, but we're willing to put in that extra work because we want you guys to have the best data that's available. It's way different of an experience there, and you have more actionable, accurate information than if you use one of our competitors' platforms. Not to say that there's nothing wrong with those other competitors. It's just that what we do is very unique. So wherever you see blue on the map is where we've negotiated those direct to MLS data contracts, and wherever you see pink is the ones that we're currently working on. We just gave the green light to New York today. So New York, including like New York City, the boroughs, Long Island, those are going to be launched sometime in the next few days. So keep an eye out for that. That's going to turn blue. And then after that, we're going to work on some other markets. But let's look at investor activity, right? So when we're choosing markets, and I did a good talk about this at the Mastermind, you guys. So if you weren't at this one, you better make sure you're at the next one. I'm not sure when it's going to be.
We got it in November this year. It's going to be good.
November, you guys. So you got some time to get your stuff in order. Do everything you can to be at that Mastermind. It was amazing. And this is coming from a guy who's got 20 years of experience. I felt small in that room. It was amazing. So anyway, enough about the Mastermind. So up here at the top, I'm going to click the button that says Fix and Flip. And that's going to plot on the map where all the investor activity that's happened in the last 12 months has occurred. Okay, so we want to go to where we have large circles with high numbers. So as we zoom in here to kind of the East Coast, you're going to see here that we've got Pittsburgh, which has more than the surrounding areas. Not as much as Philadelphia, not as much as Cleveland, but still you can see here there's a pocket of activity that's right here. So let's drill down into that pocket, and then we'll figure out which neighborhoods specifically within Pittsburgh we want to go target. And we've all heard location, but location from what you typically hear is kind of a different context than what we're talking about. When I say location, I'm talking about where are your comps located. That's where you should be trying to locate opportunities, is where you see these larger circles. So 57 right here is a market that I would want to target that has high investor activity. Now, once you get close enough, this cluster is going to break up and it's going to show us all the individual properties that were flipped here. So these are all flipped. So right here, this looks like the hottest area in all of Pittsburgh, Ryan, just south of
Absolutely.
downtown.
And Benson, what's the difference in the white bar next to it versus the blue bar? Because obviously all the red is sold data, but I see all the different colors. What's the
Mhm.
difference?
It's the source of that data. So if the property has blue, that means it's sold on the MLS.
Okay.
If it was silver, that means it's sold off market.
Gotcha. So this would be a great resource for people to look into as well, just to be able to tell the story of the deal. So this one obviously has the blue tag, meaning it's MLS data. Now, if
Right.
this is going to be, does this mean that it was also bought off the MLS before they sold it, or is it just when they sold it?
Just the second sale.
Gotcha.
So down here, when we go to the section that says before and after, it shows us that this one was acquired off market. Right here, see it says public records. If it was
Yep.
acquired on market, it would have an MLS ID here.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And I think that's a huge, huge benefit to be able to see if this property was on the MLS instead of sold off market, you could generally see photos like this. So the after photos to be able to track after the property is done, fixed up, flipped, that's just as important, in my opinion, than seeing the before photos in this case. Because I like to be able to see, can they put together a good quality remodel? And if in this case we could see their work and the quality of it, it makes it a lot easier when you're trying to paint the picture for buyers. Remembering that this whole topic today is around finding buyers for deals. The reason why we look at sold data is because we could see that this was sold investor activity deals. These were fixed, flipped, renovated, sold for a profit. We can see what they bought it at and what they sold it at.
hmm just a quick note about this report we're looking at, you guys. This is called a comparative market analysis. So I'm a licensed agent in Colorado, and I have the ability to get in there to the MLS and use data to pull comparables. But building a comparative market analysis is a very time-consuming process, and it's all manual. So what Privy does is we build a CMA like this for every house in the U.S. Even you can just type any address in, or you can use what we're showing you here in where you properties you're finding as sold or properties you're finding as active. But our system is building one of these, and it pulls the sales comparables in, which are all the red. Here's the actual legend. Red is sold, orange is under contract, yellow would be pending, and green is active, and the black are rental comps. So black is all these are the rents for the market. So if you're doing creative deal structure, subject to, or you're doing seller financing or lease options, you want to know this information too. And so we have that data here for you. Below the comping section is the before and the after. And then we've got here that we can see who the agent was that represented this flipper, right? So that agent is an investor friendly agent. They work with investors, they have access to more buyers. So that's the one to many strategy, right, Ryan?
Absolutely. I want to make sure everybody understands here. And if this is your first time watching it, I definitely recommend going back and watching all of the episodes that we've done on this so far. But the one to many approach is just personal preference. It may not be the best because I'm not going direct to the buyer. It may not be the worst because I'm not wasting too much time trying to build a relationship with the buyer. There's pros and cons to any strategy and anything you do. The beautiful thing about what Privy offers is that I can see who the buyer was and I could see the buyer's agent. So, in most cases, what I like to go and do is work with the buyer's agent because the odds are is that if they're working with this investor, there's a few different things that are variables that are in my favor. One being that there is a chance I call him or her and they are the investor, meaning that instead of going and calling the buyer with that being the intent, if I call the agent, they may fix and flip properties, they may buy rentals, they may go and have wholesaling in their operation. The other thing is that if they have one investor, the odds of that being the only investor is probably pretty slim. So if I can work with one agent that has, call it 2, 3, 4, 5 investor clients, the beauty is if they're not familiar with wholesaling, we can teach them how to wholesale. I can say, well, what are your investors looking for? If I find a property that I don't want to flip, can I bring it to you and then you bring it to your clients? Maybe you split the assignment fee. Maybe they get commission on a deal and you just get the assignment fee. Maybe they get commission and you split an assignment fee. It's all going to depend on how you structure it, what they want, and what more importantly gets the deal done. So I love the one to many approach. There is no trademark or anything like that. I just kind of came together with that idea one day. It was something that clicked. I thought when I was going through Privy, why not call an agent as opposed to the buyer? And it was also very transparently, I was lazy. I did not want to go and skip trace the information of OL and AMP and SH Properties LLC and hope that I found a buyer. I wanted to just go and call the agent and say, hey, I know that this property just sold. Unbelievable. This house on Melvin is exactly what I would recommend somebody in that area that's trying to flip goes and replicates. Do you guys do a lot of properties like this? Oh, you're the flipper. Got it. Well, that property looks like it just sold recently. Are you guys looking for the next deal? Remember what I always say, that the hardest part of being the investor is to find the deal. So if the hardest part of being an investor is to find a deal, why not bring them one? Why not be able to bring value to that relationship, whether or not it's on market or off market or from another wholesaler? If you could bring them a deal, they should buy it.
They should. And this is why I think a lot of people get caught up in the thing like, well, how am I going to compensate the agent? Well, a lot of agents are getting smart, you guys, these days, and they're actually going and they're looking for off-market properties for their clients. They're going and some of them are pulling lists and looking at foreclosures or absentee owners. And so they're willing to put in the work, knowing well and good that they're not going to get a commission if they get something that's off market. So if you are working with an agent, like let them propose that they would split the fee with you up front. But there's a good chance they're just hoping to want to list the property on the back end. That might be the only thing they're expecting from a relationship with you as a wholesaler. So I wouldn't necessarily go in and negotiate against yourself and propose that right away. I would have that kind of in the back if you're negotiating and they're like, well, like typically I'll make money on the front end too, and then you can propose something. But in this case particular right here, you got this OL and AMP and SH Properties LLC. They're the buyer. This agent got to list this for them. Did they represent them on the acquisition side too? Well, no, because they bought this thing off market. So we know that this agent is actually willing to acquire properties off market for their client. And they're not expecting to necessarily get paid anything. That's another one of the benefits here, is that this agent, we know, will take properties off market. They're not always targeting on market opportunities for their clients.
Absolutely. Benson, should we call this one?
Yeah, this is Ryan Shedlock of Howard Hanna Real Estate Services. Did you find him on your end already?
I have not. I did not have that name. What was it? Ryan Shedlock?
Ryan Shedlock. Yep. We put that in the chat for you there with the brokerage name, and you want to copy and paste that, you can. So what Ryan's going to do, you guys, is going to go and find Ryan's information, and then he's going to call him. But because we're streaming this live, we're not able to show any contact information for the agent.
So I'm basically going to call this just to make sure everybody understands the intention here. What my goal is to introduce myself, say that I saw this property that was just recently flipped, and I'm wondering, are they looking for another deal? Remember, the hardest part of being the investor to find a deal, this is it. That's what we're trying to bring as value to this conversation. This property on Melvin, if we look at the photos, you could see that the property was renovated. It's not something that needs to be renovated. They already went in, fixed it, flipped it, sold it, and made a profit. So
Let's go, Ryan.
I know. Let's call him right back.
The double dial.
In most cases, I don't recommend leaving a voicemail. I would just send a text, but just to show you guys, you could still make a voicemail the option, I'm going to leave a voicemail. You don't need to sound like you have all the answers. You don't need to sound sophisticated saying, hey, I'm an investor. I've got this deal over here around the corner that I'm working on. Is that an option? Yes. there's also this right here.
This is Ryan Shedlock. I'm unavailable. Please leave a message, and I'll get back with you as soon as possible. Have a great day.
Hey, what's up, Ryan? I think you were the agent on the property on Melvin Street. I'm not sure. That's who I'm trying to contact. Property looks beautiful. Just had a couple of questions. I've got some stuff that I'm trying to work on in the area and just trying to find someone that could help me out. Give me a shout back. Thanks. Didn't even need to leave the email address. Don't need to leave a phone number. Don't need to do anything crazy. He's going to listen to his voicemail. What my whole goal was to be like, hey, I don't know if you're the listing agent. Of course, we know he's the listing agent. I'm not trying to be playing games. I'm not trying to go and lie or anything along those lines. What I'm trying to do is provide value. And providing value, as much as I want to say with a straight face, you're going to pick up the call and call an agent, and every single one of them is going to love you. Sometimes it's literally how you say things. So if you could just word it in a way where, if you notice, I didn't create a sense of urgency, but I created a sense of confusion and questions to where he's probably going to call us back. He's probably going to be the guy that's like, what do you need? I was the one that sold it. He could also be the guy that's like, yeah, that was my listing. Pretty cool, huh? Like, you don't know until you get on the phone with them. So the beauty is we got the information. We created a sense of urgency to call us back. He has no idea what for. And honestly, neither do I. When he calls back, I'm going to say, look, I'm getting familiar with the area. I've got a lot of connections out there with other agents, other wholesalers, plenty of opportunities out there. What we want to do is just figure out how do we win-win here? Is it with us bringing deals to you and your buyers? Maybe they can bring deals to us. If they found that last deal on Melvin off market, how do you do it? Were you a part of the acquisition? Because if you were, can you do that for me too?
Oh, yeah. So let's find another one, you guys. I just scrolled down and found this one here on Plainview. It looks like it was an on-market acquisition. So over here on the left is when it was listed originally, and that was just back in February. So this was a quick deal they did. Look at the timelines on this. So here's the condition of the home when they bought it. They bought it February 15th of this year, and they just sold it on May 17th. So like in 3 months, total hold time, 91 days, right over here on the right. It was under construction for 35 days. So in a month, they did the whole entire construction project.
Hey, Benson. We got him.
All right.
Let's go. I want to take this really fast. This is Ryan.
Hey, it's Ryan Shedlock calling you back. How are you?
Hey, what's up, Ryan? I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. What's happening?
I'm a little confused. I'm trying to find the listing agent for the property that just sold on Melvin. Was that you?
Yeah.
Awesome, dude. That house is beautiful. I'm trying to get a little more familiar with the area of Pittsburgh, and Squirrel Hill seems to be popping right now. I mean, is that like where a lot of flips are happening at the moment?
I mean, yes and no. It's definitely a very sought out after area, but there's definitely not a lot of flips because there's not a lot of inventory.
Gotcha.
It's hard to find product.
Gotcha. So
be purchased at that price.
Part of what I'm trying to figure out is, so obviously my area code's 480. I'm in Arizona. We started doing deals kind of across the country, and for whatever reason in Pittsburgh, we basically started having a lot of agents and other wholesalers kind of bringing us deals. And so what I wanted to do is try to find someone that obviously has already done deals more recently and see if I could be of value by bringing some opportunities to you.
Yeah. So. I mean, I have clients that would do Melvin style renovations all day long.
For sure.
So, I mean, if deals came my way, for sure. Yeah. All I do is investment. That's my whole business. So,
wow.
Yeah, anything that would come my way, I'd be more than happy to look at it, whether it's a wholesale deal or not.
Sure.
I got plenty of buyers who would be interested in that kind of thing.
Awesome. Well, what I'll do is, anything that I come across that doesn't make sense for us to buy, I'll just send over your way. And then if it's cool with you, we could split that wholesale fee or whatever that looks like. And hopefully this is the start of many. So
yeah, definitely glad to do that. And it doesn't just have to be Squirrel Hill. I mean, I have probably 30 some foot projects.
So this is about to be a buy box. He said he has 30 projects going. So watch this.
It's a good deal.
For sure. Is there anywhere that I shouldn't look?
I mean, yes and no. I would say no, only because even if it's a deal in an area where it can't really be a flip, it could still be a buy and hold, and I have plenty of people that do that too. So, I mean, I would say, really anything that's a good deal is on his game.
Okay.
I mean,
no, that's easy enough for me, man.
I'm not going to turn you away, put it that way.
You got it. Is there a price point to try to stay under for you guys? Kind of like that 500-ish range, or any price point?
Honestly, any price point. I think if the numbers look good, and if it's a property that we can get, especially two things: one, under market value, and or B, exclusively, meaning it's not on the market and we're not competing.
Yep.
And I have people that would be interested in all different aspects.
Beautiful. All right, I got your number. So, I will reach out to you ASAP.
Let's do it.
Awesome.
Sounds good, man.
Thanks,
Appreciate
dude.
you.
Bye. Cool.
Nice. So he was open to it, like you said, the wholesale word, and he didn't freak out. You know, like you say word to some agents, they're like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah, they're like, absolutely not. This guy was like, oh yeah, wholesale. The only thing I did catch at the end, he said exclusively, meaning that if it's on market, it better be low enough to where it's not ridiculous. It's not like if this property, for example, I mean, it's a bad example because it's renovated, but like, let's say the asking price was like 410. If you were to bring it to him at 405, it sounds like some of his buyers may take that offensively, which realistically, just so you know, in this current market, you need it substantially below the list price. There was one today that a guy on my team's helping somebody in our community with, that they got the property first deal, $150K below list price. So the opportunities are there. You just have to know how to go after them. And more importantly, having the buyers lined up. If you have buyers lined up, like what we just built with this guy, Ryan, we have no limit on price point. We have no limit on locations. He said he has Squirrel Hill as a very, very, very desired, sought out area. But if you didn't also realize, I came out confident, like, there's so many flips in Squirrel Hill. He's like, no, there's not. There's no flow here that I come in having all the answers. Let them correct you because they are the experts. They are the realtors.
Yeah. No, that's key. And it sounds like he was willing to help too. Like, you know, he was trying to give you some additional information about some other areas. And, you know, he said he'd take anything anywhere.
For sure. And I see a comment here too. It says it's a very upscale area with a lot of second and third generation family ownership. There's not a lot of flipping in the area. And that's the cool thing, is that this shows in the last 12 months. So in the last 12 months, it doesn't look like there really was that many. But all that said, it's a very sought out area. So if you have a deal in that spot, whether it's off market from a realtor or on market, you can go in and negotiate something to the point to where it is a deal. He prefers it off market, but he didn't say don't send it. So the whole goal over today is to show you guys that buyers can be anywhere. And also, very transparently, I've never been to Pittsburgh. So I've never stepped foot in Pittsburgh, but I have a better relationship with a guy that specializes only in investment and is a licensed realtor with buyers that are actively in this day and market, buying and selling, that is going to be a better relationship than what a lot of people have that are in Pittsburgh working right now.
Yeah, and looking at the map now, we can see this. Look over here at Squirrel Hill. So there's the one we just found. We were looking over here, but because this is set up by closing date, this one snuck in, and it really is not in a really high investor activity area.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
So it looks like down here is going to be a more desirable area for investor activity in general.
Cool. And honestly, Benson, the best part about that is that, again, with us teaching going slower, took 29 minutes for us to get to figuring out what part of Pittsburgh in the city is the most valuable for fix and flips. Yes, there's some areas that are a little bit more desirable, but as for areas where things are being flipped actively and at a high scale, that's what we're looking for.
Yep. Yeah. So Brookline, Liberty. I mean, it sounds like somebody who knows the Pittsburgh area. He was in the chat. Overbrook, Banksville, Dormont. Like this looks like to me the area that you'd want to target. But you guys, this is also where you'd want to target if you're doing any sort of off-market marketing. So if you are good on the phone, if you do have a good follow-up system, a good CRM, and you don't mind it taking 3 to 6 months in follow-up, then you can do some marketing. But this would be the kind of area you would want to do it in. That way, if you find a quote-unquote motivated seller who's in foreclosure or has some other distress situation, the likelihood of you having comps that were flipped are greater. And in that way, you can give them a better offer, because the percentage that you're going to the discount, say it's 60% of the ARV, you can base that off of some of these higher priced homes that have been flipped, as opposed to being in an area that has low investor activity and then having to multiply 60 times what they bought some of these houses for in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to do now, Ryan? Should we look at another one?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm all for this episode today, really focusing on buyers. I mean, we got the guy, Ryan. Let's work on somebody else. Let's see if we can get a variety of people that are out there that are interested in being on our buyers list. The whole goal, and this is what I've been doing over the last few episodes of this. If you're not in our Discord, message me afterwards. I will give you their contact information. All I ask is the one thing that I think is almost the unspoken rule, but I feel like in today's day and age, I'm just going to protect myself. These are obviously real people and genuine human beings. So don't go in and take advantage of them. Don't go in there and waste their time. Understand that what I'm doing in these conversations is trying to build and show trust that we can go out there and provide value to the relationship with them. So if I give you their information, yes, you could very well go and find it on your own, but I'm more than happy to even put us in a group chat if this is your local market. So these are genuine relationships with real human beings. Just make sure to do right by them.
Yep. So so this house we were just looking at right here, this one was an on-market acquisition. So if you come here, we got these little anchors. You can click the before and after. That'll show you the before pictures. You can see what it looked like before it was flipped.
Painted that garage.
Yeah.
That.
They got this thing for 47% of the ARV. That's a nice on-market deal. The agent on this one was Pamela Auld. A-U-L-D. Pamela Auld at Remax Home Center.
All righty. A-U-L-D.
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat for you as well. So you guys, and so why is this important? Well, when we were just talking to the agent, Ryan, he said something about exclusive, which implies they want more things that are off market. When we're looking at this one right here, the buyer on this property is willing to buy from the MLS. So we don't have to guess if that's true or not. We already know it's true because we have at least one property here. So if you have a strategy of targeting on-market properties and we want to find a buyer who has a higher chance or likelihood of taking that from you, if the numbers make sense, then the buyer on this one would be that kind of person. Now this is one of those naming conventions. You can see here it's 211 Plainview Avenue, LLC. So they're, they went and they named it something because they don't want to be found. But that's why this is a great strategy to call the agent.
Okay, let's get this person. I think I got their number right here.
Pamela.
Yes. I was trying a different site and then I just made my way back to realtor.com. The one thing I will say, and I say this all the time, but just again, if you're new here, what I want to make sure you guys understand is that I'm not trying to go in there and waste somebody's time. And I also am trying to be efficient too. So when I'm looking for realtors, you can find their information everywhere. Realtor.com is going to be a site where you go in and their number should be there, but you should also see a form. Never, ever, ever fill out the form because you want to talk about wasting time. You're also wasting money. When you send out a form, it typically charges them for that form, unless it's like a personal page and you can fill out like an email and stuff like that. But even then, you're playing with fire. Just don't charge that realtor money. Just call the number that's on the screen. So she sold this one on Plainview?
Yep.
Cool.
It closed on the 17th.
Hello?
Oh, hello.
Hi. Is this Pamela?
Yes, it is.
Hey, Pamela. I'm not sure if it's you or not, but I think you were the listing agent for Plainview Avenue.
Yes.
Awesome.
I was.
Awesome. That property, it was absolutely beautiful. That remodel, I'm blown away. I'm an investor. I'm based in Arizona, but I'm working the Pittsburgh market. I've got a few things that we're working on out there at the moment. I was just wondering, are you guys looking for more flips? I'm getting some stuff sent over to me, but I'm just trying to find a way to provide value to the relationships I'm forming. And I'm trying to work backwards by finding people that just sold properties and seeing if they were looking for another one.
Yeah, I could send it out if you send me some stuff.
For sure. Or do you work with a lot of investors, or is it like this one specific?
We're starting to.
Awesome. Well, I'm licensed in Arizona. I'm not trying to take a referral fee or anything like that. What I'm trying to get is just relationships and showing again that I can provide value. We have a lot of wholesalers, and I've got a partner out there that has a lot of relationships with agents. So we're getting a lot of stuff sent to us, a mix of on market, off market, from wholesalers. And there's a few that I can't make sense of buying myself. But if I can find something that somebody else in the area might be interested in, if it'd be a value that maybe you could bring to your investors, obviously the goal then is that you get the listing on the back end, and then whatever we can make up front, you and I could just split. So
great.
Cool. Well,
okay. Yeah. I mean, you can send me some stuff.
Is there anything specific that you guys don't want to see? Because I'm sure you're super busy. I just don't want to waste your time. Like, is there anything like from condos to single family homes that's more preferred?
No, I think it's a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything.
I mean, the main areas that like our investors like are Brookline, Beachview, Dormont. But I mean, you could send.
Let me write that down. You said it was Brookline, Greenview, and then what was the last one?
Brookline, Beachview, and Dormont.
Gotcha. Awesome. All right. Well, let me do some digging. I had a bunch of stuff sent over to me today that I honestly just haven't had time to look at yet. So as soon as I go through it, I will just send it over to you. Is this the best number to text you at?
Yeah.
Awesome.
You know what? You can send it to my email.
Cool. What's the best email for you?
It's
getting the email now, you guys. So here are those areas: Brookline, Dormont. Yeah, he's still on with her. Cool. I didn't see the Beachview one.
I think it was. I don't know if I'm mistaken, but
here it is, right up here, Beachview.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that's where we were looking originally.
Yeah, Beachview, Brookline, Dormont.
If you guys want that email, pop in the Discord. That was money. She's awesome. Gave us great location recommendation. That's exactly what we're trying to do here. We're trying to create win-win scenarios. Notice again, I'm trying to show you guys I can fumble on words. So there's nothing specific here that is like a script you have to follow. It has to be this, this, and this. So it's as easy that my puppy could do it. So
I'm curious on that situation. So she's like, we're starting to work with more investors. Like, how would you treat that situation differently than someone who, like the other Ryan, who's like, I've got 30 investors that are hungry for deals? Like, is there any subtleties here?
Great question. I'm actually going to be a little more excited talking to this person because they're just now starting to bring investors in to challenge everybody. Why is that the case? It's probably because the realtor world got a little bit harder over the last 12 months. So this is called vertically integrating as opposed to pivoting and running around like a chicken with its head cut off. Oh, we're starting to. Cool. That sounds great to me. So how do we create this win-win? What is it that they are looking for? And then I even threw out too, saying condos. I haven't seen one condo yet. I mean, this kind of looks like a townhouse, kind of looks like a condo, but this would still be probably classified as a single family home. So I'm trying to show that I don't even know the area. I don't know anything about it. But the cool thing about what we got out of it is that she said Brookline, Beachview, and Dormont. We got 3 different locations that now we have a specific buyer box to go through. And what I would try to do, comparing Ryan versus, what was her name there? Pamela. Comparing the two of them together, guess what? Pamela could bring an opportunity to me that I bring to Ryan, and I could just insert myself into a deal with 2 agents and end up splitting the fee with Ryan because he has more investors than Pam does. But because Pam has less investors and is just getting into it, she's going to be less likely to understand most of the buyers and what they're looking for. So there's ways to utilize this together. Lots of opportunity. And again, I still have never stepped foot in Pittsburgh. This is completely out of my realm. And also these prices, this area, this is kind of all over. I'm just kind of showing you guys that conversations with agents are not scary. They're not going to yell at you. The fact that I'm 2 for 2 on answering is huge right now. That's the hardest part of this strategy.
It is. It's to get those people on the phone. But her buy box falls in line exactly with what the data tells us. Look at this: Beachview, Dormont, Brookline, right? The triangle, all right there. So you guys, so you can see how powerful the data is. Like, if you didn't get together with a woman like Pamela and she tells you this, the data will let us right here, right? The data does tell a story, and so then you can use that information. And a good line would have been, yeah, we're seeing the same thing. There's a lot of investor activity out in that, Beachview and Brookline area. Quite a bit of activity out there. Looking forward to working with you. So there's some opportunities. Do you want to see if we can find one, Ryan, or do you want to call another buyer?
Hell yeah, let's find some opportunity. We got some time.
So let's go ahead and so you guys, obviously, many different ways you can get deals, right? Ryan's going to nurture the relationship with Ryan and also with Pamela. They might have some pocket listings or some off-market listings. You can see here that Ryan didn't ask about that yet, right? That's good. So he's taking that relationship slow. He wants to provide value before he starts asking for things like, hey, do you have any deals you want to send me? Right? That's probably the next conversation. That was intentional, right, Ryan?
The next time around, when you're calling agents that have active listings, it's different. And also, I could call people here too and say, do you have any pocket listings? I just know my odds. If they have pocket listings and they have already sold deals to investors, the odds of this person bringing it to me are probably pretty slim. Whereas if I could find active on-market deals, I reach out to the agent. The cool thing is that if it's not that one, hey, do you have anything else available? Do you have anything else coming up? Just know that when we pivot a lot of the time, there's really nothing special about it other than I'm trying to leave no stone left unturned. I'm trying to figure out any and all opportunities. And if I know my offer is going to be exponentially lower than what they're asking, it's probably my best interest to either pivot to asking about creative finance, asking if they have any other deals, asking if they have investors that are looking for more deals, rather than insulting them and starting the relationship off on the wrong foot.
Awesome.
Sorry, this agent's already been texting me and I'm like, yep.
Cool. Pamela or Ryan?
Pamela. She tried calling me right after I sent her a voicemail. She's like, hey, I think I found something.
Yes.
So the girl that has investors she's working with, I'm like, send it over.
Awesome. Cool. So you guys, so let's look for an on-market deal that we can find. So right now we've got all of these sold properties that were done by investors. And so the Privy deal finding algorithm will take these properties and it will reverse engineer them and then look for properties we can buy right now. So I'm going to click this button, find similar active deals. Privy's going in, it's pulling comps on all the properties in this area. And then it's going to show us houses that we can buy right now that could be good deals. So here's one. This one is, let's see, this is up a little bit on the other side of the river, but it just came on the market. It's a 4.2. Property needs a ton of work.
Definitely. And the only thing I would say, just from, again, slight research, is I am not in love with on the other side of that river. I would say that with it being that price point and not seeing too much activity, we know that Beachview area is popping right now. We know people in the top right of that are a little bit more active as well.
Okay. Well, this one is right in that area.
Let's do it.
It's 99 grand. It's a 3.2, 1,254 square feet. It's listed by an agent who's also with Howard Hanna, so they must have a big, representation up there.
Yep.
Here's the property. The comps that we're finding, most of them are on the other side of the road here. So right in that Beachview market. So we can't use these comps. This one right here, we can use
that one. Yeah.
But it is a little bit further south.
For sure.
It's getting to the edge of where you would want to look and at 0.56 miles away. But let's look at that property real quickly and see. I mean, it's a completely different kind of comp. It's similar square feet.
Definitely.
But I mean, it's a huge brick property, whereas the subject property was like an older, frame house that is out in the middle of nowhere. So I don't think that one's going to be one we should go for.
This isn't one I would go after. Anything inside that Beachview area, like that one that's up at the top, that's 84K. That one, Yeah, I've been having my eyes on that one since we started.
84K price reduction recently.
That's our deal.
Yeah, this one's ripped up. All right, let's call on this one.
What's up, Alfredo?
So this is Christian Ivory.
Oh, you already know Christian's about to bring us this deal.
There's his info in the chat. He's with Keller Williams. 90 days on market. So obviously there's something that's not working with the price here.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You got it?
We got this.
Basement. Man.
We got this. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Potential foundation issues.
Oh, we're about to do something here. Hello?
Yeah.
What's up? Is this Christian?
Yeah.
Hey, Christian. My name's Ryan. Calling about a property that you've got in Beachview, the one on Beachview Avenue.
Yes.
Is that one still available?
Yes.
Gotcha. I can see obviously from the photos that property needs a lot of work. I'm sure you're probably getting a lot of low offers. I was just curious, is the seller kind of like looking at dropping the price again, or is that number pretty firm where they're at?
No, they're negotiable.
They're negotiable. Okay. So I'm an investor based in Arizona. I've kind of expanded out into different markets just because obviously opportunity price is a lot cheaper in other markets as opposed to Arizona. We've got a good amount of flipping experience under our belts. I can tell just from the photos, this one definitely has a lot of work that needs to be done. And given that I think I could probably sell it around 200-ish, maybe at most when it's all said and done, probably more realistically like 175-ish, 190. What do you think would be best here for an offer without it being too insulting? Because I'm sure you've probably gotten hit with a bunch of these lowball cash offers. I don't want to be wasting your time, wasting the seller's time or anything like that. I could offer some kind of like creative finance structure, or what I could do is I could come in and give them a cash offer. It would just obviously have to make sense at a price for me.
Okay, bro. Just text me your email.
Okay.
You know, and we'll go from there. Just tell me what you want to offer, and I'll get you a counter.
Okay, I appreciate that. What's the best email to send you an offer at? And there we go. Boom.
So you could definitely tell you're right. He had a bunch of lowball offers. He was real kind of short with you. He's like, okay,
Yep.
what do you want to give me here?
Yep. I'm like, all right, Chris. All right. I ended the call there too. And I was like, look, man, your time's valuable, so I won't waste it. Just send me your email. I'll send you an offer. So that's how I ended the conversation. I got short with him too. It's nothing personal. At the end of the day, what it comes down to, this is efficiency. This is the fact of being quick. I didn't know what my ARV was, so I pulled that number out of my ass and I was like, 200, but more realistically, 170 to 190. He didn't challenge me. So if we're at 170, and let's just say that thing, I hate to be this guy, but we probably need that at like 40%. That's like 68K though. So if they're at 84.9, we're not too far off. Now it might be a little bit lower. It might be 35%. I don't know how much to the extent of renovation. Some of those photos were bad. So what I would say is 68K based off of 40% of ARV. We've got plenty of buyers in that area. We've got plenty of relationships already between Ryan and Pamela that we can go to and find a buyer for this property. The most important thing is we got to remember is if we're going to go in and try to negotiate this, we have to leave enough room for us to be able to make an assignment fee and the buyer to be able to make money. So our comps around the area are beautiful. They're definitely something that would show comparable to this. Our property was just trashed. So the only thing that's going to factor us to be a really low price is that condition. So I'm sure they've gotten offers around 25 to 45K. I don't want to be disrespectful of his time, but I'm probably going to start it off around 50. So.
Yeah, I mean, this house right here is 0.05 miles down the road. It's just slightly larger, similar beds and baths. That thing was flipped. It went for 239.
For sure. And this is where, not knowing the area well, that second bedroom or bathroom, I'm assuming, is probably pretty valuable. But I saw there was a lot of comps that were 4.1s, 3.1s that were similar square footage as well. This one being remodeled is huge. But also, if we factor in that it's a 3.2, 1,900 square feet, it's 240 that it's sold at. So if I'm saying ARV is 200, we're not that far off. So if we're at 200K ARV and we're talking about 30%, 25%, we're 25, 30K. I mean, I told you I'm going to go in and offer 50 because let's see the feedback. If I could bring value to these two buyers, Ryan and Pamela, in a day and say, here's a property I'm working on. You don't think they've seen this? I promise you, they've seen this property. Yep. They just haven't seen this property at 55K. They haven't seen this property at 60K. They've seen it at 88 now or 84.9 now. And that's after however many days. So,
yep, about 3 months. So yeah, Benson, it would be great. Buyers write an offer on this, man.
Yeah, he just sent me over his email. I'm going to send him an offer right now. And then what we'll do is, I mean, if we get this, let's go through it next week together. The cool thing is that this took us less than an hour, 51 minutes to be exact, to find two buyers and a deal.
It's insane, right? It's absolutely insane. I would challenge anybody out there to find that kind of efficiency in any strategy. In being able to basically just put all the sides of the transaction together in such a short amount of time. And that's with us talking the whole time.
Absolutely. And I'm going to send them two different offers. I'm going to send them an LOI. The one has a creative finance offer and then one has a cash offer.
Yep.
So, and Benson, I know you got to bounce at 5 minutes till. So I don't know if you want to wrap it up now or what. I think the amount of value we dropped there between one deal and two buyers is insane in that amount of time.
100%.
And that's in Pittsburgh, guys. I mean, that's in a market where Benson, I mean, I don't know. Have you been to Pittsburgh before?
No, I've never been to Pittsburgh.
I've never been to Pittsburgh. We are doing deals in a market where we've never stepped foot. Using Privy, we found two buyers and a deal. Now, again, I sent the Discord link, agentinvestors.com/Discord. If you guys wanted, I'm more than happy to, if you're in this market, I will gladly give you this deal. I will walk you through it. I will give you exactly the template that I would do. My whole overall goal is to be able to get people to see what is truly possible with working on market deals and with agents. And even so, when we do this on Wednesday, this isn't a promotion to agent investors. This is a promotion to Privy because I'm trying to promote a tool that I use. A lot of times people say, Ryan, how do you do it? How do you do this? How do you do that? I use Privy. I use Privy. I go and I write offers on the MLS in Arizona and even in Phoenix. We use it to comp. We got a deal today that we were helping somebody else work that was found on Privy. So this is a tool we use day in, day out. I am super appreciative of you guys that made it all the way through this episode. And Benson, thank you again for doing this series. This is always super fun. We provide a lot of value in a short amount of time. So I appreciate all you guys that make it all the way through this.
Yeah, thanks for being here, you guys. I want to answer just two questions. We don't have an API, probably won't for a while. And then the other one is, you guys, a lot of people are like, well, you find buyers in my area or do this in my area. This is the same process anywhere, you guys. We could have picked Philly, we could have picked Dallas, we could have picked SoCal. It doesn't matter. So if you're thinking, oh, well, man, we didn't find anything in my market. You guys, this is the exact same process. All you gotta do is just duplicate what we did in your target area. It's really, really simple.
Absolutely. And literally take what we did and make it your own variation. Today was actually probably one of the worst days of me doing a live on the phone. And it was just to show you guys that there is no perfect call. So you can stutter on words. You can sound like you're not all that confident. What it comes down to is actually agents preferring who they work with. It's going to be, they prefer clients that they know, love, and trust that are going to actually do what they said they're going to do. If you know that their hardest part of their job is to find a client and you could be that client for them, everybody wins. Yep. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you again.
All right, guys.
We will see you guys next week. Have a good one. Peace out.